Okay, I think we are live. Hopefully, everything looks and sounds about as good as it can. I do want to check one thing now that I think about it that I should have checked ahead of time because Windows has really been screwing me lately. Let's go to recording, microphone, levels. Hey, it stayed the same. That's good. Okay, well, again, hopefully everyone can hear me. And like I said, hopefully this is as good as it's going to look. So I apologize for that. Everything here looks good. We're live on both platforms within a couple of seconds of each other. And thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you guys taking part of your Saturday to be here to listen to me ramble about some stuff for a little bit. So I hope everybody's doing well. Excuse me. Collins is here. Glad to see that. In fact, Collins is on both platforms like a champ. Some people do it. I appreciate it nonetheless. Just probably not something that I would do because I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bad person. But glad to have everyone here. DJ Dash says, watching from South Africa. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us from so far away from where I am. Holy cow. I don't know if you could probably even get any farther away from me than where you are currently, DJ Dash. It's really, excuse me, geez. 2 tabs with unmuted. Well, I will take that. I appreciate it, Collins. Just kind of making sure that everything here is lining up over with this. This looks good. So yeah, it's everything there looks good. Outstanding. Well, there we go. And of course, it looks like in about a minute, little over a minute, there's going to be an ad over there on the old Twitch. So hopefully that doesn't impact anybody too terribly much. Looks like we've got some other people hanging out, kind of lurking. I get it. I don't usually chat when I'm participating or watching a live stream. You're not participating, I guess. But when I'm watching a live stream, I typically don't chat very often. But every once in a while, I'll pop in, say hi, that sort of thing. So whether you're chatting or not, I appreciate you taking at least a few minutes of your day to hang out with me for a bit while we take a look at a couple of different apps. If we jump over to my desktop here, this is, well, when was this? March of this year. I made a video taking a look at a new app called Termix. And Termix was, Richard Sorensen says, nice, a good episode again. Greetings from Sweden. Well, thank you for joining. Appreciate you spending part of your Saturday here with us. Man, I got something stuck in my throat there. Anyway, so this is, again, hold on. There we go. Man. We took a look at, like I said, Termix, which is an open source self-hosted server management panel. It was in early development. And here the other day, Thursday or Friday, the developer of Termix reached out to me via email and was like, hey, I wanted to let you know I've made some updates to that, but I've also got a couple of different apps that I've been working on kind of behind the scenes as well. And that's what we want to take a look at today. He's got one that is called Tunnelix, which I'm still not entirely sure what it does, if I'm being completely honest. I haven't installed either of these yet, but Tunnelix is one of them. It says a clientless web-based reverse SSH control panel that stores and manages your tunnels through SSH. And I don't know what any of that means, but he's been working on this for a bit, it looks like. It says it's a tunnel management system designed to simplify the creation and management of SSH tunnels through an elegant web interface. It allows you to securely connect remote servers and port forward local services through SSH tunnels from anywhere with a browser. So not entirely sure what we're going to do there. Again, that's what we're here for, is just to take an initial look at this without any preconceived notions about what it is or what it does, that sort of thing. We're gonna deploy this live and just see what happens. We've also got this other one that he's also. Oops, I screwed that up. Holy cow! Let's see if we can. There we go. Let's drag this over there. There we go. That's better. So then we've also got Confix, which is a self-hosted config file manager with persistent session history and quick access. The no worries, Collins. I appreciate you being here and hanging out. Anyway, the idea here is I think we talked about this in a recent live stream, as far as being able to like edit config files on the fly versus having to download a file, modify it, re-upload it, that sort of thing. I think the idea here is it's an open source, free forever local config editor. Its purpose is to provide an all-in-one Docker-hosted web solution to manage your server config files without having to enter SSH and use tedious tools such as Nano. I kind of take offense to that. I really like Nano, but I know other people prefer other things. So we're also going to take a look at Confix. But these are the two things that we're going to take a look at today. Here in just a moment. I think, again, wanting to make sure everything here is still going according to plan. That's, I apologize. I don't know what's going on there. I had a sandwich and apparently it's trying to not. I don't know. So, hey, Craig. Craig says, hey guys, glad to have you here, Craig. But yeah, I think those are the two that we're going to take a look at today. If we jump over to Luke is the developer here. You can kind of see all of the stuff that he's working on at any given time. And of course, all of that is linked in the video description over on YouTube. Of course, for reasons unknown to me, there is no video description on Twitch. So I don't know what to tell you other than I guess you'll have to Google it. Let's see, we've got Toonlin Ong. I know I screwed that up and I apologized. It says watching from Burmese. Blunt Man t-shirt is awesome. Love the dude, right? Yeah, I've worn it on stream a few times, and I'm always a little apprehensive to do that. But I figure if I stay just low enough, it's ambiguous, right? So, but it's cartoon characters or comic book characters that live in a fictional world, inside a fictional world. I think it'll be okay. But no, well recognized. Niche Monk says, greetings from Germany. Glad to have you here. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit today. But yeah, no, we're doing these a little earlier. You know, for a long time I was starting these at like 11 o'clock my time. UTC minus 6, unless it's daylight savings or not, and it changes. And I wish we could get away with the daylight savings thing. It's so annoying. But anyway, we're going an hour earlier during these hot weekends. We're going to be up in the low 90s, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, of course. And I'm not I'm not excited about that at all. You can see I've got a fan back here, and it's got ice water in the tank in the bottom, and it's blowing cool air on me, at least for a little bit, that will make my life at least a bit more bearable while we hang out for a bit. So that's the plan. Give me just a second. That's I don't know what's going on there. It's really getting annoying if I'm being honest. Also, if at any time during this live stream you feel the urge, go ahead, and if you're on YouTube, of course, feel free to give the video, the live stream, the interaction a like. That'd be cool. But yeah, so we're going to take a look at Tunnelix and Confix. I feel like I want to take a look at Tunnelix first because it is the most ambiguous of the two, based on my reading anyway. And it says, like, for installation, visit the wiki for more information on how to install. You can also use these links to go directly to the guide. The wiki doesn't tell us anything other than how to install. So, you know, it is what it is, I suppose. So I guess we're just going to grab this, right? Like, we're just going to grab this Docker Compose right here. And I've got an LXC over here. Oops. Damn, I apologize. There we go. Now you can see my screen. Let me go back and try that again. That was dumb of me. So Tunnelix, right here. The wiki that it describes right here when you click it, it's just like, hey, pick a way to install. And so that's how we got to this Docker Compose. I'm just going to click copy. I'm going to start this LXC that's right here. We're going to give this a second to spin up. And we're going to get logged in, of course. Right, there we go. So we're on 51. Cool. Oh, screw you. One of my biggest complaints about Portainer, and it's not just Portainer, but Portainer is an offender here. If I enter the IP address and port 9443, it's just like, hey, this was an HTTP request to an HTTPS server. Cool, then roll it over. Don't just throw the error message at me, roll it over to HTTPS. I've seen, this is the biggest offender daily or regularly in my self-hosting. And I wish it would just automatically roll over to this. I don't know why it doesn't. I'm sure that there's some security implication with doing that, but if you're accessing it locally on an IP address, anyway, it is what it is. So we're going to add a new stack. We're just going to paste that in there like so. We're going to do that. And then we need, I guess we're going to do this. I feel dirty going to LastPass, but whatever. Will it? Great. It says I can go to like 32. So cool. There's 21. I'm going to copy that. No. And then we're going to come back over. Basically what we're looking for here is just a salt. That's how we're going to have kind of a randomizer or encrypt what's going on is with that salt. So really, let's just, nope, I can't do it twice. It has to, whatever. We're going to do 21 characters there. All of this is fine. We're on port 8080. The container name is Tunnelix. The restart policy is unless stopped. If you're already using port 8080, then change it there, but don't change the colon or anything after it. The volume here is a Docker volume, which is Tunnelix data, and it's also initiated down there below. We've got the environment variables of the salt and the port. All of this should be fine at this point, and we can just click on deploy the stack. While that's doing its thing, I'm going to grab this IP address because oh no, cancel. Because I want to pop this open in a new tab and set my environment variable. Otherwise, it's going to open to like 0000, and that's not going to work for us. So we'll give this another second to deploy, and then we're going to see what Tunnelix does because I'm still not 100% sure. So hopefully this won't take too long. I haven't deployed this for myself yet. All of those are Portainer. That's like a gig of Portainer images there. Still thinking about it. Still deploying. All right. Well, I wish I was more entertaining. This would make this part a lot better for you guys, but yeah, I'm not. So again, I hope you guys are having a good weekend. There it goes. There it goes. All right. Let's see. Is it gonna? Yeah, of course it's gonna do the 0 thing on me. There we go. All right. Let's open this up. Tunnelix. All right. You're the first user. Your account will be created with admin privileges. Neat. Oops, I didn't spell that right or I'll screw it up. And we're going to create an admin password. All right. Sure is nothing there. All right, let's click here. Okay. So the tunnel port configuration, the source port local is on 22. And then the endpoint port remote is set to 0. So this tunnel will be forwarded. Let me zoom in a little bit. That make it easier for you guys to read. Maybe help me out because I don't know what's going on here. This tunnel will forward traffic from port 22 on the source machine to port 0 on the endpoint machine. Okay. So that updated. So I mean most unsecured servers are going to be on port 22. I do have some that are like on other ports, but we're just going to do this for right now. Okay, so source configuration local machine. Required SSH pass installation. For password-based authentication, SSH pass must be installed on both the local and the remote servers. Install using this command on Ubuntu or Debian or the equivalent for your system. So there's some more information on how to do that. Required SSH server configuration. For reverse SSH tunnels to work, the endpoint SSH server must allow gateway ports, yes. Allow TCP forwarding, yes. Permit root login, yes, if using root user. Edit this file. So our source IP, let's grab something other than the one we're on, because I want this to, let's see, we're on, let's do this one, right? We're going to do that. And then we're going to do root, because that's what I've got for my demo setups. And that should be the root password for that. Wait, source IP. Wait, what? I feel like I'm missing something. Because the source tunnel, the source is this IP. So let's make this one 5. Because that's where we are. And then we're going to do that. That. Great. Max retry intervals. Okay. Auto start on boot. Interesting. I'm going to say add tunnel. Okay, I clicked that. I feel like I don't have enough information here. Test 22. We're gonna. Why? Port 22. Okay. Apparently, if you scroll down, I don't know, man. Oh yeah, you can. Woo, that's not good. Should be source IP should be your server IP. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's where what I did, right? Because we're on 51 here. Source root username, so that we can log in on that server. And then the endpoint, the remote machine, will be that, right? And that's all the same. We're going to do that, right? We're going to, come on. Man, what is going on? Holy cow. Oops, I did that wrong. Okay, so I've entered everything here. And I'm going to click add. There we go. Okay, it worked that time. Click connect. Connecting. Connection closed. Okay, and that's fine. Let's edit this because it's entirely possible that I don't have this enabled right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here on the remote machine, right? Oops, I need to sudo. Wait, what? Oh, because I am so dumb sometimes. Nano, there we go. All right, we're going to get there together, I promise. All right, port 22, right? So we actually need to follow the instructions that we were given. Gateway ports, yes, and TCP port forwarding, yes. This is, okay, this is on, whew, man. This is on the server, okay. Okay, right? So this is configuration that we need to do. This needs to be yes. Right, and then what else? Allow TCP forwarding and gateway ports. Those are the two that we're looking for. TCP forwarding and gateway ports. I don't know if I've ever actually seen those in here. Oh, gateway ports. Oh, there they are. Yes. So, right, so that should be everything that we need there, right? Gateway ports allow TCP forwarding, yes. Permit root login, yes. Right, so we agree that all of those are correct. And then once we do that, then we need to restart the SSHD service. We're going to do Control O, Enter X, and then we're going to do that. But that was on the remote server. I need to do this on nano. Oops. I need to do it on the server, not the client. Man, let's try this again, because I'm sure there's going to be something different there, right? So we're going to put this on port 22. Oops. Cancel. There we go. So we're gonna comment that one. No, not that one. That one, right? And then we're gonna make this one yes. Also, and then we're gonna scroll way down again. Give this a second. There it is. And yes, and then we're gonna save that. And then we're gonna restart that service as well. Now, is there anything that needs to be done here? It doesn't say anything there. Okay. So then in theory, right? In theory, this should be fine. Connection closed unexpectedly. Next attempt in 5 seconds. Well, then let's take a look at our logs and see if that tells us anything. Because logs are usually a good source of information. Not always, but usually. Test bash, because I don't have SSH pass installed. Fair enough. It said I needed that. I didn't listen. So we're going to install this on. So this needs to be on both. And then cool, that's installed. And then I'm going to do that. We're going to give this a second. Thank you guys for your patience while I troubleshoot this in real time. All right, so connect. I did all the stuff. Okay, but now it's saying I didn't do all the stuff. Port forwarding failed for listen port. Port forwarding failed for listen port. But I did that, right? I think I did that. Let's wait, what was the actual error there? Remote port forwarding failed. Okay. So we're going to come down here. We're going to look for that port forwarding thing again. Is there something else that I missed? 22 on both. That's fine. Gateway ports, TCP forwarding, gateway ports, and TCP forwarding, right? Those are both there. Okay, and in port 22, permit root login is yes. Port 22 is there, right? So that's fine. That one should have worked. So let's look at this one. We're on port 22 there. Permit root login is yes. TCP forwarding. I wonder if I accidentally undid that one. Maybe that did it? I don't know. This is what we wanted to see here. I'm going to refresh the page just to see. Connect. Remote host is disconnected. Going to retry in 5 seconds. Remote port forwarding has failed for listen port 22. But right, like you guys have seen that. Yeah, so hey dude, thanks for joining. I actually really appreciate it. Yeah, like so it's telling me that remote port forwarding failed for listen port 22. So this is my server port, and we can see that port forwarding is yes, gateway ports yes. If I do this, port 22, again, this is the server side. Permit root login is yes. All of that looks fine based on the instructions that I'm being given in here, I think. So I'm not sure what the issue is here. Like I've done this. I've installed SSH Pass on both. I've verified that these settings are the same on both sides. My password, port 20, like all of this should be fine. But I don't understand what, like if I go to the server side of things here, nope, that's the wrong one. If I go to the server side here and do this, right, port 22 is there. If I scroll down, permit root login is yes. And if I scroll down even farther, allow TCP forwarding is yes. Gateway forwarding is yes. I don't know why this X11 is there, right? Let's restart that. But like all of these appear to be correct based on the instructions that I've read up here. And I still keep getting, yeah, like I restarted the SSH server on both. If it wasn't up, it would have thrown an error, I would think. There's no firewall on this. Like this is my test server. This is all local on the same network. Like I can, like I can do, let me do this, right? If I do this, I can do SSH root at 192.168.0.41. Yes. Right there, I SSH'd in, so it's not a firewall issue. This is my Windows machine, so I don't know what's going on. So like I'm able to SSH in from Windows on a different machine. These are on the same network. These in theory have the same permissions. So yeah, so definitely nothing that. SSH server, I've proven that is up. In fact, if I exit and change this to 51, I can do the same thing. And we're logged in there as well. Jan, thank you very much for that. I appreciate for your support there and gifting that membership. That was really nice of you. Thank you. So I don't know why we're having issues here. This again just says error for test. Remote port forwarding failed for listen port, but I've got allow TCP forwarding on both of them enabled. Maybe that's my issue. I'll allow agent port forwarding. Maybe do I need to enable that? Is that what I'm missing? Is the agent port forwarding? This just says TCP forwarding for the tunnel. Is it maybe agent forwarding that I need to enable? I mean, I can try it, I suppose, and see. Let's restart that. We'll try this and see what happens. Let's come down all the way down to here. Agent port forwarding, yeah. And we'll restart there. Okay, so now we've got agent forwarding enabled on both of them as well, in addition to TCP forwarding and gateway ports. Both of them are on port 22. So we're going to refresh. We're going to click connect. Man, I got nothing. I got nothing. Remote port forwarding failed for listen port 22. And that's accurate when considering time zones. So I just don't know. I don't know what's going on here. It just doesn't make any sense at all to me. And that's kind of why I wanted to knock this one out first. If I'm being completely honest, I wanted to test this and see, because I thought that it was entirely likely that this one, because I don't understand essentially what it's meant to do, that I wasn't going to, that if there was going to be issues, it would be with this one due to my ignorance. I don't understand it. So if anything was going to give me issues, it was going to be this one. Fernando says, good morning. I want to make sure I haven't missed anybody else. Oh, Chalupa is here from Portugal. Borg Swarm is also here. Sorry for, wasn't trying to ignore you guys. But thank you guys for joining. Yeah, so that's kind of where this is. I think for the sake of moving things along, I want to deploy the other project here. Fernando says I try here too, and I had the same error. Also using Proxmox, and like here's the thing that I've run into from time to time. I have run into situations where certain apps don't like certain file systems, or there's something about the base configuration of Proxmox that has caused me issues in the past. I don't know if that's the case here. But again, like I demonstrated that I was able to, from a Windows machine, SSH into both of those LXCs, those Linux containers, and it all worked fine. So I'm wondering if there's a compatibility issue with Tunnelix and Proxmox. Hopefully, the developer can chime in on that a little bit. That'd be cool. Obviously, no obligation to do that. He mentioned having some more information in his Discord, and we might check that out later. But yeah, strange stuff. Strange stuff. So hopefully we'll move on from that for right now, and we'll try something else. See if we can't move past it. The next thing we're going to take a quick look at here is going to be Confix. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. Here you can see the idea is that you log in and then you map it to where your configuration files are going to be, right? So then if you wanted to or needed to edit, let's say the configuration for your homepage, instance, can't think of the right word, but you know what I mean. So this way you can edit this kind of in real time without having to download the file and edit it and re-upload it. That's kind of the idea there. Okay, hold on. I may have received an email here that may have a solution. I'm not gonna let you see that for right now. We're gonna take a look. Of course, it's gonna ask me to log back in, as you would expect, at the most inconvenient time. It's funny. I can go from this computer to that computer, and and it will lose its mind. But if I switch IPs to a different country, it's like, cool. I absolutely see how you could have, changed countries, changed time zones, changed continents. Totally makes sense. Let's see. Okay, so it says try running this command and substituting the values. Interesting. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm reading this. So we're gonna run this. Let's see. Local machine. Try this command. Pass. Okay. Sorry, I know you guys can't see this. I apologize. I'm trying to wrap my brain around this a little bit. And I know you guys will be helpful, but if I try to read this and what you guys have to say, my brain will melt. So, so the idea here is this, right? So I've got this. So let me ask you this, Luke. Is this on? Okay, so I'm gonna enter this. Okay. So we're gonna run Luke. I'm asking Luke specifically here. I'm gonna run this command on my local machine via SSH for both the server and the client. Is that correct? I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this. Hopefully you can clarify that for me. So I'm going to look at my server machine. That's 51. Again, I understand you guys can't see my screen right now. So hold on. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pop this email out. Maybe. Thought I could do that. All right, this is fine. You guys can see this, I suppose, without it being an issue. So let me do this. Okay, it says sorry about the trouble. Try running this command instead of they're in LXCs, Craig. So it says try running this command and substituting in the values for this. So we're going to replace this, and we're going to replace this and this and this. Okay, so I'm logged in. Let me do this. We're gonna do this. That's that. We're gonna paste that in there. Okay. So the endpoint user in this case is going to be root. And then the IP address is going to be 192.168.0.41. And then this is going to be 22, because that's the port that I'm using there. And then this, I need to change this password here. So I'm going to modify this. I'm going to run this command, and then we're going to see what happens. And I'm not going to show you guys my password, even though it's my my dummy setup. I'm not going to show you that. And I apologize, but it kind of is what it is at this point, right? So it says bash line 1 nc command not found. So let's do apt install nc apt update. And NC has no installation packet or no installation candidate. Tyler Erie says, good morning and happy Saturday. Well, glad to have you here. Thank you for joining and hanging out for a little bit on your Saturday. Appreciate that. So when I run the command that I was given, let's switch back over to here. It says bash line 1 nc command not found, port inactive. I try to install nc and it's like, no. And I'm like, hey, let's do an apt update or apt repository update first and then install it. And it's like, no. So not sure what's going on with that. I don't want to spend too much time troubleshooting this at this point, just because I would rather do this kind of in the off time and keep you guys from watching me get more and more frustrated. Again, I'm not angry. When I can't figure something out, I get frustrated. And so like this is totally a me issue that I'm working on. And I'm not frustrated or anything with anybody. I start to get down on myself like, hey idiot, why can't you figure this out? And it's something I'm working on. I'm seeing a therapist and I'm taking some new meds that have been helping with all of that. So let's come back. Let's right now, at least for a little bit, let's derail ourselves a little bit. And let's take a look back over here at Confix. This one I am kind of excited to take a look at. It's interesting. ADHD is not a superpower. It used to be for me. Like I actually really did a good job with it for a long time. But then after 2016, it became my kryptonite rather than that. So, good morning from Brazil. Tonin, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here and commenting. Super appreciate that. Thomas says, when you get to the point where one brain cell screams, let me out. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, me too. That's why I'm always frustrated. I've actually found a good combination of things that have been helping me out. It's been helping me out quite a bit. Um, but um, but again, everybody's going to have different processes that they go through. What I want to do here, I think, is I'm actually going to install this in a live environment. I'm going to YOLO this because I actually want to see what this looks like in real time, right? So I'm gonna come over to here. Not that you guys can't see this right now, but let me do that, and of course that. Yes, I understand. Get logged into here. Of course, I typed that wrong. All right, so here we are. This is my Synology device with some containers that I've got running on it that we're not going to talk too much about because we're not. Craig, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate you being here for a bit. I'm sure we will chat in Discord. If you guys aren't part of the Discord, you should be. That would be cool. Mental says I give up fast if it's boring. Yeah, I get that. I'm going to click on, I want to click on add a stack like this. I'm going to paste that in there. I'm going to call this confix. And then, let's see here. Yep. All right. So we're gonna take this out like so, and then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do volume. Oops. 1/configs. I think that is where I want to be here. We're going to find out here in a minute, though. That's all fine. 8080. I need to change this. Let's try 1845. I don't know if I've got anything using that right now. This should be the right path. Man, now I'm second guessing myself. Let me take a look over here real quick and make sure. I'm sure it's going to make me log in. And do that. Let's see. Oh, I see. That would have been a problem. We're going to do properties. I was close. I was actually really close. It's actually capital C configs, not lowercase c configs. All right. So let's go ahead and deploy that. And hopefully this all goes according to plan. The idea here is that all of the configurations for all of the Docker containers that are running on there are in this. And we're not going to talk about any of them again, but we're going to take a look at them. So I guess I can close that one for right now. We'll give this a minute. I guess while this is running, the other thing that we didn't see was how big is the image for Tunnelix. 316 megs, actually not bad. I have seen a lot bigger images recently. In fact, the post is video that we did Wednesday was like 4.5 gigs. So thank you guys for all of the hearts. I really appreciate that. Let's come back over to here. This is still thinking. That's fine. One of these days I need to do a prune on this system as well. I've been real bad about not keeping things pruned on my Docker server. Confix, there it is. Let's take a look here. Cool. That all looks good. This should be fine. Great. Let's do that. Interesting. So I don't see a username and password there. I probably overlooked it. That's Tunnelix. Let's close that. It'll confuse me. Confix. User permission, user authentication. Interesting. So there's no default user, I guess. Let's just try this. Oops. All right, that's not going to do it. Okay, we're going to sign up. You're the first user. Good. It would be neat if, oops. Ooh, so two things. It would be neat if the first time you came here, it brought us to this saying, hey, you're the first user. And then also for the password, because I fat finger things a lot, it would be nice if the password had if it was here twice, so you had to enter it and then re-enter it to make sure that you got it right. And we'll click sign up, and there we go. All right. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I don't. Okay, go back. Is there? 48 minutes late. You're all right, man. I appreciate you being here. Always happy to see familiar and, of course, new faces as well. Okay, so that's... No, I'm going to go back. Mount? No. All right. I feel like I have screwed something up here. Because... because I did this, right? So we look at here. All right, left side, path on your server, right side. So it's in apps. Okay, that's what I was looking at. That's what I was missing. Apps. Data? No. It should in theory be here. Volume 1 configs. I tell you what, let's do this. Maybe sometimes maybe that's the issue. Let's update that stack. Appears it's working, but can I find the folder that you put in the apps directory and configs? Right. That's why I removed the trailing slash there. I've run into issues with that in the past. So it should be, this is a similar setup to like how Plex handles things, where you're mapping things. Like I could have multiple mappings here, and each one would be : / something different. And then over here, it would show, maybe I was just in the wrong thing there. We're going to give this a second. There it goes. So we're going to refresh just so we can have a chance to do its thing. Apps, and there's nothing there. Interesting. App. Okay, that is the app for what we're dealing with here. Let me remove this. Go back. Apps. Nothing found. I wonder if this is a permissions issue because of Synology. Are you sure you entered your path to the config files correctly? Yeah. So, right here. This is where my configs are. Right. For my different. Yep. So if right here is configs, properties, volume 1 configs. So let's do this. Right. Let's swap this. So that didn't change. We're going to call this configs test, just so we're 100% sure that is the right thing. So and we're gonna take it a step further. Config test DB, right? So just so we're sure. Again, this is me. This is some of the weird stuff that my brain does to really make things that stand out extra. So this is volume 1 / configs. Was copied from right here. This is the folder that we're in, and guests are allowed to read and write to that. So it should be all right. We're going to give this a second. There we go. All of that looks good. Confix. Let's refresh this page. Oops. Let's go home. Let's go back. Configs test DB, right? That is inside the app, right? That is what we set here. So we should be in this folder when I click it. Again, this could be an issue with Synology permissions, but it shouldn't be. Let's do this. Let me try. I want to try one other thing here, right? I'm going to copy all of this, and then we're going to come back over to here. We're going to go to stacks, right? Tunnelix, that's fine. I'm going to paste this in. And I'm going to call this confix, and then we're just going to do home, and then we're going to call this config home for the inside. Again, this is going to be on an LXC, right? And if I do this, We're in this server right here, or this LXC home. Oh, CD home, my bad. LS, there is a folder there in home. So I'm going to close this one and this one for right now, as well as this one, again, just so that I don't confuse myself more than I have a likelihood to do here. All of this looks fine. This is our app. Home config, home, that's fine. All right, let's run this one real quick just to see what's going on here. Again, one of the issues that I have fairly regularly, and it's why I don't deploy a lot of things on my Synology, is because of Synology permissions. Like I still like their hardware, I still like their software, I like all of that sort of thing. But permissions on there for some reason still cause me issues. The port here should be fine because I'm only changing the external port on the access. I don't actually think we need this port here. Typically when we have something like this, it's to modify this, which I've never had a situation where I needed to modify this if I could modify this. You can't see that, I apologize. So let's try that again. So typically when we've got this port 8080 or whatever down here, it's so that we can modify the 8080 up here, right? But if I can modify the first half of this port line, then this basically becomes extraneous. We don't necessarily need that. This is what it's looking for on the inside. This is to modify the inside. All right, so let's take a look. This is Confix. We're going to come over to here. Yeah, like so. We're going to create our new account real quick again. Eventually, there we go. This is DB Tech. And then we'll click sign up. And there we go, config home. And look, there's DB Tech, right? This is actually working. Like this is like, if we come over to here, like config home / DB Tech, inside DB Tech, we should see a bunch of stuff in here. And if I come over to here and I do a CB into DB Tech, I do an LSA, bash history, bash logout, penv, whatever, right? Like I think bash history, bash logout, penv, it's all there. So this is definitely a not a portainer, a Synology issue as far as permissions are concerned. I think it's possible that you may, to get around that, you may need to have the ability to add a UID and a GID to that, just so that you can force permissions into it. I don't know how that works. I've never actually built a Docker container or a Docker image or a Docker whatever. I just deploy them and demonstrate them. But from my experience, you may need to do that so that there's like an option for a UID and a GID. Like we do a hub.docker.com, and we do something like Linux server. We're just gonna grab something that's not gonna get me flagged. Sure, Heimdall. Heimdall is a nice, safe thing here, so that we've got like a PUIG and a PDI, or PUID and PGID in the environment variables. You can usually use those to manipulate permissions on a device like a Synology. When I deploy things on Synology, I always have to modify these to get them to work appropriately. I don't know if doing that would actually make any difference here, but we can check, right? Environment variables. Oops, we're going to modify this a little bit so that it matches the same formatting here, right? And then, oops. And then, like so, let me do this. I'm going to do CMD, right? DB Tech it. Dot there. Oh shoot! Cancel. Try that again because I've got a modified port on that. Yes. All right. So this is me logged in or SSH'd into my Synology device. So if I just do, was it use or ID DB Tech? So my UID is 1026 and my GID is 100. So my UID is 1026 and my GID is 100. So we're going to modify that. I don't have any reason to think that this will or won't work. This is just troubleshooting. So we're going to click on Update the Stack and click Update. And we'll give this a second to modify those two things. And we'll see if it does anything differently. Again, this is like Borg says he agrees. I don't run any containers on my Synology for exactly that reason. I have some nautical apps on there for that reason. But let's click home. Let's go up. Let me go back. We're gonna refresh this a few times, right? Let me double check this. So volume 1 configs. This is config test DB. Config test DB. Yeah, it didn't do it. So the other thing that we're going to try, again, this is just me doing some troubleshooting to see what might work. We're going to update the stack and click update. I've set both of these to 0, which isn't a great way to handle that. When you set both of them to 0, you're saying 0 in this case is root. So the user ID and the group ID are both root. So that's what we're trying here, just to see if it does anything. And again, that's based on what we see here. Over here, using Linux servers way of doing things. So let's click on home. I kind of wish home would reset, but it's fine. So let's refresh. And then click here, and then again, not found for some reason. And again, it's a Synology issue more than anything else, because again, we're seeing it over here. If I open this, there's nothing in there. So let's do this, right? Let's do a cd into .ssh ls-a. There's nothing there. Let's do touch test.file. And now we've got a test.file in there. I kind of wish there was a way to refresh this, but it's fine. Oh, that's the wrong one. You dum-dum. Let's go into here, and then let's go back into .ssh. .ssh. There's that. And here we go. So now I can edit this file. It would be nice to be able to refresh this from inside here. So let's do, this is testing. Oh, hey, dude, it auto. Oh, right. So it will, oh, that's great. I dig that. If you're a coder and it will automatically do formatting, that's really cool. I'm actually really stoked to see that. The other thing that I want to see real quick while we're doing this, because I just had another revelation maybe, we're going to do touch test number.2, right? And then we're going to come back to here. I'm going to come into here. So now we have, so this file is open. If I click here, hey, look, I can toggle between these two files. That's really neat. So if I wanted to reference something in one file, and can I wonder, oops, oh, and you can, oh, that's neat. Well done on that. You can actually, like, if you've got a function or something and it's taking up a lot of your screen space, you can like shrink it down. That's great. Can I do this? Can I do copy? Can I paste? Oh, dude, you can copy and paste easily. You can save. Control S does not save. It'd be neat if it did. But again, that's just a me thing. So if I do cat, if I do cat number 2, interesting. There should be stuff in there, right? Cat test file, interesting. So it didn't nano number 2. It didn't save. That's really strange. I'm on the right, and I'm on. That's also on 51. Save. Okay, it says it saved. So let's close these and then open it. And it didn't save. This is some text. Save. Close. Open. It didn't save. I'm confused by that. Let's look at the logs. Let's look at the logs. Okay. There's definitely something going on there that it doesn't like. Man, I wish this was resizable. We're going to do it this way. Hold on. Inspect. Dang it, come on. Here we go. That's better. All right. So now we can close that. At least this is bigger. It's easier to read now. Error in file post endpoint. Error e-access permission denied. And it's entirely possible that it doesn't like that I'm running as root. That could be the issue here. I do know that some apps, for security reasons, won't run as root. I don't know if I saw anything about that, though. Although I wasn't looking, if I'm being honest. Root. Nothing about root. Okay. But we're definitely getting a permission denied issue here when I try to save the file. Code e-access sync all error number 3. Let's number 13 rather. Let's look at this. Let's see this. Oh yeah. Interesting. Try to install in super user mode. This is what happens when you install node or npm with sudo. So that could be the issue, that it's throwing these errors because I'm accessing this as root. I know, again, some apps don't like to be run as root. If that's the case, it would be nice to have that explicitly explained. And look, here's the thing, guys. Like, I'm not trying to crap on the developer here at all. I want to be real clear about that. I know that when I'm doing these kinds of things, especially running them as root, this is a security issue on my side, right? 100%. This is me not doing things the proper way by running things as root in my test setup. So for me to expect that the apps would work in with root as the user is unfair of the developers, because they don't want to compromise their applications by making them accessible via root. Now, there have been cases where a developer will have a root and a non-root version depending on use case, but I don't want. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the developer. I'm not trying to do anything other than troubleshoot this the way I would troubleshoot this in my day-to-day, the way I do things, right? If I were to want to do that, take this to the next step, if I could get my words out, I would switch. In fact, let's try that, right? Let's exit this. Let's do this, right? So we're going to do... Cool. Now I'm logged in as me. So let me, it shouldn't matter too much if I deploy it this way. Here's what I want to do, again, just for the sake of doing some additional testing here, right? I want to shut this one down now that I'm logged in as not root, right? I'm going to shut both of these down. I'm just going to click on remove for both of them. That's fine. All right, so that's good. Now what I'm going to do an ls. Great. I'm going to do nano docker compose.yaml, and we're going to do this. I'm going to modify this. I'm going to call that redo, and then we're going to change this again. The volume here, just because I don't want there to be any overlapping stuff. I'm just modifying things just enough to be different. Like so. Cool. So we're going to do docker compose up-d. Oh, balls, you're right. I apologize. I'm just redeploying it in. So I've logged out as root. Thank you. I've logged out as root. I've logged in as dbtech instead of root. I came over to Portainer and I shut down the 2 containers that were running, and have redeployed, logged in, SSH'd in as dbtech via a docker compose.yml file. So now we've got this. I'm going to click sign up because, again, I am the first user here. Right, and I'm going to click sign up. And then we're going to come over to here, dbtech. I should have in here a couple of files. Test, save. Okay, now I deployed this as dbtech, not as root. So if I do like id dbtech, my UID and GID are 1000 when I deployed this. So let's look at the logs. And again, no access, but I did create those with the other as root. So maybe let's clear my screen, cd home, dbtech /.sh, cd, less, man, let's try this, cd, or sorry, ls-a. Okay. So in theory, then I should also have, let's do this, right? Oops, config. So let's go up. There should be a Docker Compose file in here, right there. There it is. I'm going to do this. I'm going to click save. Now, all of this was created as dbtech, not as root. Okay, that may have worked. That may have been the issue. Let's do a nano docker compose confix 2. Okay, that worked, right? So let's exit. Right, so we've got confix 2. I just changed that. Let's clear my screen. Let's try one more thing here. So it really is all about permissions. Container name is going to be config, or sorry, confix permissions check, and then we're going to click save, right? I'm going to come over to here. Again, nothing changed here, so that's good. We're going to do, let's do cat docker compose, and confix permission check is the container name. So that worked. Because I had created the file with root, the user dbtech, even though still a pseudo user, didn't have permission to modify that file. So that's something interesting to keep in mind, is that somehow we need to be able to give our container permission to edit more. And again, I think that could be solved with a UID and a GID in the environment variables. Again, kind of referencing the Linux server stuff over here. But again, if a file was created by root, then only root can edit it. I don't know what the logic looks like that as far as deploying things is concerned. Again, I'm not a Docker file or a Docker image creator, developer, whatever. I just try to break them and see if I can figure out what I can do to fix them before I make a video about it. So that seems to have worked. The other thing, let me confix. Let's go all the way up. Okay, so let's close. Oops, let's close these. What's going on over here? Admin settings. Allow new signups. No, thank you. So you can disable account signups. That's good. What else we got here? Or we can log out. All right, that's good. I wonder. Let's log out, because that makes me wonder. Let's sign up. we'll call it live stream. We're going to make that the username and the password. Oops, signups are currently disabled. I thought I enabled that. Maybe. Sven, yeah, Sven, I agree. Oops, log in. You suck. Log in. Save admin settings. Oh, allow new signups. That's fine. And then log out. This and that. Sign up. So user live stream. Okay. That's fine. But what I want to actually, you know what? I did want to see that. Log in. Up. Man, yeah, that seems super risky to be able to do that. I want to log back in over here real quick. Can't click enter. That's fine. Save. Admin settings. And we can't see any additional users here. That's scary. If you've got new signups turned on, you can't see anybody who has signed on or has signed up. So I would definitely not make this public to the internet or available on the internet. This should be a local only thing, at least at the time of taking an initial look at this. And also understand this is still very, very early development, right? I think it actually even says somewhere up here. I thought it did. So again, this is still early development. So there are things that won't work. Admin should have user lookup. I would think. I agree, but again, these are still early development apps, right? I'm not expecting everything to be completely fleshed out here. And one of the things that I've noticed from doing these live streams with a few different services that we've taken a look at, even since the beginning of the year when we've been doing these live streams more regularly on Saturdays, is that the developers are very often willing to hear what we have to say. They're willing to take our suggestions into consideration and make those adjustments, right? And they're under no obligation to do that, right? If we say, hey, look, it would be cool if this, because that, we've had that be enough for the developer in the past to be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me see how I can do that. And again, like I said, these two apps are still very early development. There's still a ways to go, but before I think they're fully ready. But I wanted to take a look at them like where they are right now, because that's from my experience. Because I look at a lot of different Docker containers. In fact, I've looked at so many Docker containers now that I can often get a feel for what a Docker container is going to be like without even deploying it, which I know makes me sound arrogant, but I've got like 600 videos on my channel, and I've deployed hundreds, maybe thousands of containers that I've never made content about, because I didn't feel like they were ready. I didn't feel like they were anything special enough or unique enough or different enough or whatever to keep you guys interested. Developer says user lookup will come in the future along with user management, with only allowing some users to open files. This is the very first version of Confix that released 24 hours ago. There you go. That's what I was saying. This is very, very early development. The other one is Tunnelix. And there you go. I'm kidding. But so Tunnelix, it's linked in the video description. I'm not 100% sure what it's meant to do. If it's kind of just a remote SSH kind of thing, so you can remote into the container and then remotely there manage an SSH connection between two servers. It's kind of how I think it's supposed to work, but based on the half hour or so that we spent with it, it's this one right here. Again, it's linked in the video description. I couldn't get it to work. The dev sent me an email behind the scenes that I took a look at, and it threw an error saying that NC wasn't an option as far as one of the possible fixes for it. So again, we're just taking a blind look at a couple of apps that Luke that Luke was nice enough to say, hey, look, I've got some new apps that I'm working on. Because again, this is the same developer who did Termix. Let's come back over to here. In fact, we did a video on Termix. When was this? Back in March, a couple of months ago. We took a look at Termix, and I feel like that's kind of what this is, but kind of a remote access to a remote access is how my brain is interpreting things. But I really like Termix. I think Termix is cool. Being able to have like one setup that you can just log into. In fact, I wanted to look at one other thing here. Again, I don't want to expose this email information here. Yeah. So the newest updates. He says, the developer for Tunnelix, the web SSH project you reviewed a couple of months ago. Since then, I've made significant updates, the biggest being the addition of a database that now saves user configurations or user connections, greatly improving the user experience. And that's, I think, what was keeping me from using it. Oops, in the past. That's not what I meant to do. I don't know why I clicked that. That was dumb. No, there's nothing there. I think that's too terribly whatever. But yeah, so like I said, this is just kind of a first blind look at a couple of apps that were presented to me via email, and I like to just dive in blind on some of this stuff, just so you guys can kind of see how I approach things, right? How I will look at an application, some of the troubleshooting steps that I will go through, some of the stuff that I just run into on a day-to-day basis when I'm testing out new apps. And like I said, I've tested out easily hundreds that I'll never make a video about. And it's not because they're bad apps. I mean, some of them are, but it's not necessarily that they're bad apps. It's just like, how many apps how many note-taking apps can we really have that are markedly different, right? How many, whatever apps can we have that are basically the same thing before everybody starts to get bored? So it's not to say that I won't eventually look at them, but if 5 videos in a row are note-taking apps, I would expect my views to go down progressively on each one of those. Because even after that long, I'm bored of taking a look at note-taking apps. So I would honestly expect the same thing from you guys. These are not that though. Confix and Tunnelix are not those things. These are not repeat apps, and that's why I'm super excited to take a look at them like we've done here. But I'm also the reason I wanted to look at them now, when they're still very, very early on in their development, is because it will, I think, help people appreciate the functionality that they've grown into later. In fact, I want to look at a couple of things here. Right, like when we look at like this is the GitHub page for Confix, right? One of the things here is that there are no contributors listed here, right? This is just Luke, right? This is just Luke building this. And if you look, release 0.1.1 released 13 hours ago. This is the more or less the very first release on this, right? And I think this was just the first push 3 days ago. So the first actual release was 13 hours ago. And this, at least at the time of us talking about this, Luke's the only person working on this, and I got a lot of respect for that, because I'm not a developer. My brain doesn't work that way. If we look at Tunnelix, I click that, same thing, right? Release. We've got a 1.0 release here. There's one. Oh, sorry, there's two. Let's look at this. So there's three. Weird. Whatever. Right. There's the 0.1, which is the initial testing. 0.1.1, and then version 1. I think that's a big jump, but everybody handles their versioning differently. And this was just over a month ago, but there's been some work done on it, to the README in the last few days. So again, like I like jumping on these apps really early on, especially when a developer reaches out to me, right? Um, I genuinely appreciate when a developer reaches out to me and says, "Hey, I'm working on something new. And here's the repository or repositories in this case. Um, Take a look at it. Let me know what you think." And in fact, gave me permission to do what we're doing right now, this live stream. And I was like, "Hey, like if you want to jump in on the chat and hang out and maybe answer questions or whatever." So I appreciate the trust that I believe that is being shown there, right? Like it seems like Luke trusts me to take a look at this and give my feedback, and I super appreciate that because again, I like looking at things very very early on and watching them grow as time goes on. Like when we took a look at Pangolin in January, and then again a few months later, I don't even remember when we looked at it this last time in May, I think. No. Oh, I guess I can look at it there, but let's go here instead. I'm not going to show you my screen here, but I want to look to see when we looked at it last, because it was May 29th, but we also looked at it in January. And between January and May, the end of May, it changed a lot, and it was really cool to be able to see the distinctive differences between those in just that short amount of time. So that's a really long way of me saying why I like to jump in on an app early, just to see how far an app goes in a given amount of time. And I don't mean that as a challenge to like blow through code as quickly as possible, but I like to watch an app grow from the ground up and see what it does. Sven, dude, thank you very much for gifting the membership there. I really appreciate that. Is there a way to auto track apps without installing them to see the progress? There is. There absolutely is. That's a great question. What you can do if you're signed in, which I'm not. You can't see my screen. I'm going to sign in to my Discord, my GitHub. If I knew words, and I'll show you, because it really is a great question. Let me get signed in here. Oops. Oh, damn it, that one. Okay, so now that I'm signed in, you can see my screen. You can't, so like I've starred this app. I don't remember if I starred the other one. This is Tunnelix Confix. Cool. There we go. That one's also starred. What you can do is click watch, and you can watch for all participating. And so like if you leave a comment or you leave an issue or whatever, you can get notified for that and basically everything, what you're participating in and things that you're mentioned in. Absolutely everything. Never be notified, or some mix and match of that. You can get notifications when things happen, right? So I might click that and refresh. Oh wait, let's do all. Right. So now I am watching, and I am the first watcher on that. So that is Tunnelix, that is Confix. I'm apparently watching both of them without realizing it. Oh, I'm not. Somebody else is. Cool. If I refresh, cool. And that's how you can get notifications when an app gets updated. Like GitHub will send you an email or whatever anytime there's an update. Depending on the developer, that can get really tedious to get a ton of emails about a project. So you might come over to here and you might say, just notify me about releases and security alerts, right? Maybe those are the two biggest issues for you. So you can configure this how you want it, or what notifications you want to get. Sven says, I watched Louis Lamb and got bombarded with emails. Dude, I can't imagine. If you're not familiar, Louis Lamb did Uptime, Kuma, and Dockage. And so he was very hard at work releasing a lot of stuff. So I absolutely believe you would get bombarded with emails from there. The only reason I ask is because I have seen apps that I don't want to install yet, but when they're fully done and working, I would install. Yeah, then absolutely. I don't know why I switched back to my face for whatever reason, but yeah, just come in here, go to custom, and at the very least, I would probably select releases and security alerts, and just get notified for those, right? So you can come over to here. This is on Tunnelix. Again, same thing, custom releases and security alerts, and then at least you can get notified if there's a new release. You can get notified if there's a security alert, and I think that's pretty acceptable. So yeah, I hope that helps not only Thomas but anybody else who might be curious about how to get relevant notifications about an app that somebody's interested in without having to install it and keep checking it out repeatedly to see. So what is this? Oh, well, there we go. We've got some tags there. Gotcha. So let's see. Do we have any other questions? I only ask because it's really starting to get hot, and while this is helping, this side of me is getting real warm. So, so yeah, if you guys have got questions, I'd love to be able to answer those for you, and if I can anyway. I think I'm going to start closing some stuff out here. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't looked at Dockage in a long time. I know it's not. I know the original intention wasn't for it to be called Dockage, but it's like DocJ or something, and it just no. I won't call it that, and I apologize. I know that makes me rude or whatever. But like if we look at this, let's see. The last update was 3 months ago. Breaking change due to security reasons. The console feature is now disabled by default. If you need this feature to understand the risk, you can enable it with the environment variable Dockage enable console equals true. New features. The Docker client updated to that version. Docker Compose updated to that version. Console improvements removed useless scroll bar. Fixed default Compose version obsolete. That's good. Bug fixes. Preserve YAML comments when reordering items. Fixed a couple of issues. Update JSON YAML validate to the latest version. Some translations, some security fixes. Bunch of contributors here, which I love to see. But yeah, no, that's great. But again, it's been a few months. But man, here's the thing, right? Like he's been super busy with I think Uptime Kuma 2. I think Kuma 2. Yeah, one of these days I should really look at Uptime Kuma 2. Just out of curiosity, it's a milestone right there. But no updates on this in the last couple of months either. Thomas says you need AC in that space, dude. In Colorado, AC is something we just don't usually have. Like it's rare, especially for a house that was built in the 70s to have AC, unless it's been retrofitted, which I would love to do here, but I rent. And we're sitting in my garage right now, so in order for me to do that would be a disaster. So yeah, I'm in my garage. Like I said, I've got ice water in the evaporative cooler behind me, and that helps. But yeah, can't put AC in here in the garage without being a bit ridiculous about it. So, but yeah, but look here in a minute, 93F something like that. We're at 88 right now with a high of 91. That is 31C, currently up to about 33C later today, which is pretty not normal for here. I've been here for coming up on 18 years. I moved here in 07. And like it's pretty unheard of to be getting this warm. No AC in Ireland at all makes sense. 10 months of the year for sure. The climate change is for real, dude, right? What's hot for there? Like anything above 90 is hot for here. I wonder if I can. How many times has Colorado Springs had 100-degree weather? So Colorado Springs has hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit a total of 12 times since 1894. Um, so yeah, so yeah, no, like it's for it to be consistently this. Let's do like 93, right? I don't know. Um, Colorado Springs has reached a high of 93 degrees at least 13 occasions since we started keeping track of this stuff. So 13 times, roughly, in 131 years. Uh, so it's getting more frequent, and that sucks. But yeah, no, it's because we're at 6,000 feet of elevation. It's uncommon to get that hot. But when it does, man, it sucks. On the flip side, though, when it's like, like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, man, it's still like shorts and t-shirt weather. If you've acclimated, like if you're from a different area, it's different. But like 50 degrees here, if you're acclimated, is absolutely t-shirt weather. And like I've been out in like 30, 40 degree weather in shorts, and not because I'm trying to like be a tough guy, but because it's just not that cold compared to say 30 degrees in Idaho, which is where I lived for the first 20 something years of my life. So the weather here is definitely different. And I love it here. I absolutely love it here. I just wish it wasn't getting continually so hot. It's just year after year after year, it just gets progressively hotter. And it's getting to be where I don't like it. Huh. You guys interested in Duolingo? Sorry, I was making sure I hadn't received anything else, and got a random email about potentially partnering with Duolingo, which may or may not be a BS thing. Here's how I check. 62 degrees, shirts and shorts, 52 degrees. Yeah, again, because of the elevation that I'm at right now, the UV is higher here. We're closer to the sun. And when my wife asked me when she first moved here, why the numbers didn't mean the same thing, I told her it's because we're closer to the sun. And she laughed at me and was kind of frustrated that I worded it that way. But the reality is it's because we're closer to the sun. Uh, because we're, thousands of feet higher than where she and I are both from, both in Idaho. The atmosphere is different here. There's less atmosphere. Sorry, there was a fly. There's less atmosphere here than there is there. So the weather doesn't, or the numbers don't necessarily mean the same thing, which doesn't make sense. Even saying that, no, that's a real thing. Sven, he says, please don't get burned. It's absolutely a real thing. Like I tan really, really easily. Like I'm much darker now than I was a month ago, 2 months ago, whatever. I don't spend that much time outside. But I also don't typically, wear sunscreen. So that's my bad. But yeah, it's the atmosphere is thinner here. So the sun hits us differently. The numbers don't mean the same thing. Yeah, in Idaho, a tree is considered a skyscraper. That's not far from the truth, man. It's really, really not. What is the tallest building in Idaho? 8th and Main. It's downtown Boise. I've been there. In fact, I think my wife lived there for a while. But 8th and Main is 18 stories tall at 300 feet. About 45 minutes east of New York City. Jesus. Yeah. I'm curious. Yeah. So the tallest building in Idaho, 323 feet. The tallest tree in Idaho is 177 feet. That's funny. Was it that one? Interesting. Anyway, yeah, no, it's 18 stories is a skyscraper in Idaho. So it is what it is. I lived there a long time. I prefer Colorado. Um, Same here, but I can see the New York skyline. Wait, same here, but I can see New York City's skyline. I can see it from the beach. Yeah, I like in Colorado Springs. I don't know what's the tallest building in Colorado Springs. Oh, look. Yeah, in fairness, the tallest building in Colorado Springs is only 16 floors at 247 feet. So the tallest building here is actually shorter than the tallest building in Boise. So that's something that I think I knew subconsciously but didn't really pay attention to. Denver. And the tallest building in Denver is a 56-story building, which is 717 feet, about double what the one in Idaho is. So about triple what it is here. Interesting. So yeah, One World Trade Center is the tallest in New York City at 1,776 feet. Do you think that was done on purpose? That's so interesting. Anyway, yep. There was one other thing. I guess while we're talking about self-hosted stuff, we're getting back to self-hosted stuff. Oops. Oh, Hitch. Let's continue. There we go. There's this other app that popped up on my radar because of the self-host newsletter called Zendu. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Yeah, Zendu. And it's this. It's just a kind of a to-do list, and if you open it up, you can create like we did those things. And if I refresh, cool, and then you can move them. But it's just this little to-do list thing that I kind of dig. But that was that, and that's another one that I looked at it. It's cool. I've even opened some issues for it. But I don't know if I'll ever make a video about it because it's a very basic to-do list. Maybe I could make a short out of it. Yeah. I do like the palette. I do wish there was a dark mode for it. But that's because I always like a dark mode, but I do appreciate kind of the aesthetic here. I love the font. I don't know what font that is, but I love the font. Font family is Mergam font. That's the one. That's the font that's being used there. That's really neat. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted. Interesting. But yeah, so I would like to see a dark mode on here. I would honestly like to see Sunday up at the top. There should be a list of all the tasks too. I mean, it's broken down by day, and the idea is to approach one day at a time. I think not have all of everything exposed constantly, and possibly be like, oh crap, that list is too long. Why even bother? We can say, you know what? Let's see, today's Saturday. Live stream and hangout. Right? That is much easier to grab a hold of than having everything for the entire week in one big list. If you don't, if you need to move it to a different day, let's say, maybe it's better for Sunday. We can move it there. Right. And someday is like something that you'll eventually get to. And Monday is the first day of the week. It depends on where you're from. In the United States, we do Sunday through Saturday. And like with my Postas instance, it is. I'm not going to show you that. I'm not going to pull that up. But Postas also starts on Monday, goes Monday through Sunday, and that it took me a while to. It took me a while to get my head wrapped around that. Again, it's from being from North America. Like we do Sunday through Saturday. I actually Googled it the other day, and it seems like it's kind of a 50-50 split, depending on what part of the world you're in. Um, but it would be nice if we could have Sunday as an option for the first. Okay, damn it, dude. Sorry, there's a fly like right here that just will not go away. Anywho, dude. I have a few basic apps like that. One is Mood List, just blocks the noise when I need to focus, play some rain sounds or something. Sorry, Moodist, not Mood List. Has dark mode, same guy that did Calmness, which is a breathing timer. I feel like I've heard of Moodist. Moodist, ambient sound. I made a video, and with this, like can you like mix and match? Okay, so you can mix and match, and maybe you want more campfire, and less river. That's pretty neat. I dig that. There was an app I did. There was a video I did about an app. Let me see if I can find it. Storm Lightning. Man, I can't think of what it was called. But it was something kind of similar to Moodist. And you could, oh, wow. Oh, this is so good. The one that I originally found had the ability to upload your own sounds and compile things differently. This one might. I don't know. Let's look at the source code. I think it would be you need to get yourself a cat. No more fly problems. I have 6. I have 6 furry buttholes that don't ever do their job. Interesting. Hey, look, there's a Docker Compose for Moodist. Interesting. Might have to give that a look because that's pretty neat. I really like that a lot. Where you can have, like out in nature, you can add some wind. That's a lot. Maybe add some thunder. Yeah, no, that's really, really neat. I dig that a lot. Definitely going to keep that open and take a look at it later because I like that. Side note, percentage estimate Monday is first day, 80 to 90% of the population. Interesting. I saw numbers different than that, but it doesn't mean what I saw was accurate. But everywhere I've ever been, which has been North America and like England and Scotland, I feel like those were both Sunday first. But again, I understand that not everything needs to revolve around the way we do things here. It's just one of those things. Anyone know a good app to track your mood during these days? Let's look at it that way. There's a couple of them here. That's what that one looks like. Hey, oh, dude, thank you. You know what? I'm going to skip that for right now because of that. Thank you very much. She's trying to bring me a rocket pop. I appreciate it. This is doing pretty good. This will help. She's trying to bring me a rocket pop, you guys. I mean, this is pleasantness versus energy. This one might work for you. Again, that's just the first one I pulled up. That's not helpful. And that one was updated a year ago. Oh yeah, Mrs. DB Tag knows exactly what she's doing. She's hilarious. No, she's great. I love her so much. She's always keeping me on my toes. But let's see. Yeah, as far as like mood tracking apps, sorry, just going back to that real quick. It looks like there are some out there. This one was updated fairly recently. Of course, I don't see. Oof. Okay, that's not what I thought. I always like to see, what the interface is going to look like, right? And it always bugs me when I don't get to see what the interface of a service is going to look like. I don't. This is deploying to the cloud, deploy the application to Elastic Beanstalk. Some of the names people come up with, man, I know it's hard to name things, but I don't think that one's going to be a winner for us. That's Moodist. That's Moodist. Oh, that's because I'm looking in the wrong thing. Mood tracking app. There we go. So I don't know of any. I've never actually done any research on it, so I can't really give a lot of help there. Format option should be a thing for some apps. I agree. Like happy, sad, depressed, anxious. Yep. Have you done or are you planning on doing some streams relating locally run AI and object ID like Frigate, for example? I've got something I think coming up here, hopefully fairly soon. Damn, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. And I don't know much about it at this point. It's there's a website for it, so I'm sure it's fine if I show you guys. Let me just look this up. That might help. There it is. Here. Oops. Let me undo that. Hold on. Let me find the original email. Here we go. I'm going to pop this open, and I'm going to immediately just mute everything. I don't think that Geerling would have a problem with this. Oh, nope, that's not. If you want to know more, feature on Jeff's channel, that's the one I was looking for. I got to find it. Sentinel. And hold on, I'm going to find it here. Oh, it was that one. Oh, damn it. That's not the one I wanted. Sentinel Quartz, 112. There we go. This device right here, right? Oh, you can't see that. There we go. This device right here. This is a board, like a motherboard, basically, that is powered by Compute Module 5, Raspberry Pi Compute Module 5, and that is an AMD GPU plugged into it. And this was a month ago. But anyway, the developer or the guy behind Sanctuary Systems reached out to me recently about the Sentinel Core, which this is basically what that board looks like. And the idea behind it is to run AI on it via the GPU that plugs in here with Home Assistant and some other things kind of as an all-in-one unit. So I'll be doing that. I don't know about Frigate, just to kind of go back to your example there. I don't know about that specifically, but I might. I don't know. AI is still kind of one of those weird things for me that I like it for certain things and not other things. But like I've still got my Home Assistant voice PE that's set up and working with Olama. It has its own personality that I gave it. So if I tell it to do something, it will very often give me a bunch of attitude, but then usually still do the task. So let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's okay. Sven is saying his doctor wants him to track his mood. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that's important. That looks like it would be cheaper than a Jetson Nano. This is €219 for the Sentinel Core. Then you've also got to provide your own CM5, or not your own CM5, your own GPU. And once you configure shipping and the conversion from euros or pounds or whatever to USD, by $270. Yeah, the board does look interesting. I'm definitely interested in getting it. The last time I talked to the developer about it, he said that it would be a couple of weeks, that he was waiting on parts. Like, he had all of the packing material for it, like the retail packaging for it, but he was still waiting on the actual boards and the parts and all that sort of stuff to put it all together. But in the meantime, I went ahead and picked this up. This is, there we go. Yeah, go on. Is an or not RTX. It is a Radeon RX 7600 XT with 16 gigs of RAM, of VRAM, I guess specifically, that is going to power the AI on there, and then we'll see what happens beyond that. But I'm super excited to give that a go and see what happens with it. The last one I ordered, I believe, was like 80 euros. I don't know what you ordered that was 80 euros, but yeah, like this is still early. Like it says here, now available for pre-order, and is expected to ship Q3 of this year. And of course, there's information here, like I think it's 1 gig internet, a couple of USB. I would assume USB 2, hard to say. Let's see, USB. Oh, there's USB 3 and a USB-C socket for fast data transfer and device connectivity. 2 full-size HDMI 2.0 ports. It's got a high-speed Gen 3x1 socket for GPU compatibility. Raspberry Pi hat connector for additional functionality. Power connector. So, like, basically, it'll use a standard power supply. Oh, the NVIDIA A400. Gotcha. So it's going to use a standard power supply, like 24-pin adapter here. Then it'll also, GPU plug in, power supply, the PC power supply plug into here, and the GPU. We get fan control over here. We get our GPIO and a header over there. We get the BIOS battery, couple of cameras, a power button, and then some other stuff here. I don't know what that says. So it's just jumpers to enable or disable eMMC boot, or disable writing to EEPROM. So just some jumpers here. Camera or display, that's neat. And then your typical Raspberry Pi GPIO here. So yeah, good stuff. I'm excited to have a chance to take a look at it, and kind of see what I can do with it, because my the way I've currently got things set up, and I'll just show you this. If I can get in here, shouldn't be an issue. All right, so this is my HL15 as it currently stands. And right here is my Plex server. I call it Plex, but it's more than Plex. Right? If we take a look at the hardware, 32 gigs of RAM, 8 cores, a terabyte of storage space, and if I double click that, I've got an RTX 2070 attached here for that. Oops, let me clear some stuff here. Clear, nope. Oops. Yeah, so currently nothing's getting used. That's crazy. Usually there's something being used here. But I split this between Plex and Ollama. So I'm actually kind of happy to see that it's only pulling 13 watts currently and is only using 3 megs of memory currently. I'm actually really happy to see that. I don't know if you guys can see that. I can't zoom in. Weird. Anyway, but what I'd like to do eventually is pull Olama off of here and move it over to the Sanctified Systems setup, or do some variation of that. Enjoy. Um, but that's currently what's going on here with this VM. In fact, if I do, quit. So like on here, I've got like Portainer, OpenWeb UI, Olama, Portainer Agent, Watchtower, Plex, and I don't even know what that one is. Opened AI Speech. Interesting. I don't know, but that's what is currently taking up my RTX 2070 that I've got in there. And if I can offload some of that to a different system, I'd like to do that. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Next graphics card, I'm going to try a major jump, hopefully, in performance, not in price. Ordered an NVIDIA Tesla K80 with 24 gigs of DDR5 for €92 on Amazon. That's not a bad deal at all, actually. The NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano Super Developer Kit is $250 by itself. Interesting. I wonder. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. I actually want to look that up real quick. Oh, geez, come on. Pretend you've used the internet before. Holy cow. Okay. Interesting. Oh, that's on Seed. Okay. Interesting. Seed actually reached out to me overnight to possibly do a collaboration with them. I think specifically with some Home Assistant stuff. Big fan of Home Assistant, trying to use it more, that sort of thing. But yeah, no, that's from NVIDIA. That's Amazon. There it is. Yep. Man. But let's see what it comes with. Oh, it's just that 8 gigs. I mean, it's still kind of a beast of a machine, though, man. But it doesn't look like it's got. But it doesn't look like it's got a GP or a PCIe slot on it, which is whatever, really. Oof! Holy cow! 20. Wow! Holy cow! That's expensive. But yeah, I may be working with Seed here soon. So I'm kind of excited about that. Obviously, Sanctuary. I keep saying Sanctified. I've been watching South Park recently. Huge performance are using on their server. Interesting. Yeah, look, it might be a pretty cool thing to do. Maybe I'll see if they'll send me one, and I can do some testing of the. So wait, hold on. I guess maybe I'm not familiar. Future proof homes. Interesting. Okay, so the satellite looks familiar. This is I've seen this before. Private voice assistance is here. I feel like I have seen somebody talk about this in a YouTube video, or maybe a couple of YouTube videos where they made their own 3D printed enclosure for the satellite kit. All the furniture now moved into its new home. Nothing in my office except for the home lab is plugged in. I mean, that's a start, man. That's further than I'll probably get doing my stuff today. I really want to reorganize or rearrange some stuff out here, but interesting roadmap. Let's see. This is 3D printed home or purchase in store soon. Interesting. Nexus 1. Artificial intelligence in a box. That doesn't tell me anything. The Nexus 1. Okay, that's the one we're on right here. Okay. It sure doesn't tell us anything, though. That's kind of unfortunate. Here we go. The Nexus 1 base station is a compact AI computer that powers our advanced LLM voice agent. It connects wirelessly to your satellite one speakers, enabling full voice control of your home while privately, no internet required. I dig that. They did a video on it. Yeah, maybe I'll have to take a look at that and see it. Man, there's no information on it. That's crazy. Apply to be a private beta tester. I would like to think that I would do that, but I'm garbage at that kind of thing. Interesting. But yeah, they're definitely using an NVIDIA product there. I can see it. And it very much looks like that. So I think you're right. I think that it is this that they're using. Yeah, it 100%. That's the competitor, the Home Assistant Voice PE. I think that's when I was thinking about getting the PE. I saw the other one pop up. The oh, it's fine. I think it was the satellite that I saw that I was kind of bouncing back and forth between. But it's interesting that they're building their own ecosystem. I have to wonder. And the Home Assistant platform. Good. I would definitely be curious to check out that ecosystem. And I love this. I love that you can build your own speaker systems for it. I think that's great. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to take a look at the Sanctuary Systems setup, just to see kind of what it does, how it works, that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm going to close this here for a minute. I was wrong. There we go. But I'm definitely excited to see how that system goes, just because I always like to try out new stuff like that. But and I think it was this image that I saw, or this video that I saw, and I love. Oh, you can't see that. My bad. This one, right? That one, with this is the 3D printed satellite thing. I think it was this video that I saw. But I love this because of the slope on there. It'll make the sound come out better, and I love that they thought about that versus just having a flat spot where the sound will just bounce off of it obtusely. I love that they've done that. I think that's great. Yeah, and there's the 3D print for it, and it looks like it's all. So it's like four different prints, maybe. That's great. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 different prints. And then the speaker. Man, now I want to do that just to try it out. But one project at a time, and I'm already in the middle of a few. Yeah, I think that's where that is. So the plan for this week, just so you guys, since you're here, I may as well give you a bit of a heads up as far as what the plan is for this week's video. I'm going to be talking about like what I actually self-host. Because we've spent hundreds of videos of me demonstrating demonstrating containers and services and that sort of thing. But so few of them actually make it to my actual home lab. So this week we're going to take a look at what I actually host. We're going to talk about some of them that are going to be going away, that sort of thing. But that's the plan for this week's video. I've already got my thumbnail. I'm really happy with my thumbnail for the video. I've been trying to do thumbnails first, so that I've got more time to do them and modify them and that sort of thing. Like the script is done, the description is done. I think the blog post is mostly done. So now I just need to come out here and record it. I'm super excited about that. But that's the plan. I didn't really have there are apps that I'm currently looking at and I'm reviewing, and I'm working with the developers so that they can be part of the process. But I'm not ready to do, I think, either of the two that I'm working on. So this is me kind of a filler piece, but a lot of people ask, what do I host? It seems like it's an obligatory thing at least once or twice a year to talk about, to make two separate videos, right? One is what services am I running? And then the other one is what hardware am I running those services on? And I think, over the past, I think over the past 30 days or something. Um, man, hold on. Oops. This guy. Here we go. Yeah, like over the last 30 days, there have been about 1,500 new subscribers, which I know isn't huge, but I dig it. I appreciate the steady growth, right? I think I would probably have a panic attack if one day I woke up with an extra 10,000 subscribers. I don't think my brain would process that well at all. I think I would curl up and shake for a while. So I dig the consistent growth. I've been making some changes to my videos as far as how I present them, the speed at which I present them, those sorts of things. And I've been fortunate to time that very well with some great projects, getting the developers involved. And that's been that's I mean, I can just show you this. Like this is public information here, right? Um, the each one of these, that's 100 subscribers, give or take, each day. And that makes me happy every time I see that, because it shows that apparently something I'm doing is right, or better than it was. Maybe not right, but better. And that's been really nice to see on a regular basis. These numbers continue to go up. So I think with all of the new people to the channel, who have never seen my content until recently, I think sharing what I'm actually using on a day-to-day basis, why I do it, how I do it, that sort of thing, and some changes that I'm going to be making, I think, here pretty soon. So, um, thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say that you all love my streams, and thank you for doing. Thank me for doing whatever. I'm trying to read in like eighth person there. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's really nice of you. But here's the thing, right? In fact, I just caught myself doing it in the last few videos that I've done. Like the first third of them are scripted, right? I write out the script, the intro to the video, the intro to the developer, the intro to the app. All of that is scripted, and then from there, I do my demonstration. That's not scripted. I do the installation. That's not scripted, and then the outro, not scripted. But usually that intro part is about a third of the video. And I've been training myself to speak more slowly when I'm doing those tutorial videos, those demonstration videos, those sorts of things. I should switch back over to here. But on the weekends, when it's just us hanging out and we're talking about stuff, I've noticed that I go back to my talking really fast mode. And I appreciate you guys for putting up with that. Because I very much am somebody who talks fast, but I also understand that there's a large part of the population who English isn't their first language, right? It might be their third or their fourth or their 10th language. And here, dumb guy speaks one language and just plows through it so quickly that I know a lot of other people out there have a hard time following for one reason or another. So I've been deliberately making myself slow down. And if I catch myself when I'm doing one of these videos, one of those tutorial videos, I will stop the video. I will stop the recording. I'll go back and rewatch it to verify, going too fast. And I will delete that video, that clip, and re-record it over and over and over until I get it right. And that, I think that has contributed a lot to the increased views that I've been getting. Obviously, part of it is the topic. I know that's a big part of it, but I think part of it also has to do with my presentation and how that's been, I think, more inclusive. I don't even know if that's the right word, but more easily accessible, I think, is probably the better way to handle that or say that, because I know I talk fast, and I appreciate you guys putting up with it when we're doing this kind of stuff live. So. Sven agrees about the appreciation. Thomas says that I'm on my way to 100,000. I am. I don't even know where I am right now. I know what that says, but that's not always accurate. I'm at 94,942. And and that's a number that I still have a hard time wrapping my head around. I am 5,058 subscribers away from 100,000, and that is bonkers to me. It's absolutely bonkers. At the current rate, like, in fact, I think this might even tell me. Let me come back over to here. Future projections. This is suggesting. This is on Social Blade. Is suggesting that I'll hit 100,000 subscribers by June 7th. Or sorry, not June, September 7th. So I don't believe that for even half a second. I've been averaging like, if I were to keep up what I'm doing now, let's say I need 5,000, and I'm averaging, this says 50. Can I go back farther than this? Subscribers for the last 30 days. That's only the last 2 weeks, 30 days. Damn it. Come on. I've got to be smarter than this. They've recently rebuilt this. And yeah, that's not going to do me any good. They recently rebuilt this, and it's not showing me as many days. Daily, monthly, weekly gained. Oh, wow. So yeah, you gotta, man, and I can't zoom out anything past that. Anyway, the point is, I need another, like I said, 5,000 of you awesome people to subscribe to the channel. At the rate I'm going, it'll take 100 days, 110 days. I mean, it's what, 4 months? Call it 4 months. So by October, if I keep going, yeah, the last 14 I actually wanted more because that's kind of where we are here. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, but in order to do that, oh, hold on. There we go. Let me just get signed in. Let me sign in, and maybe that'll help. Maybe they're just doing that for whatever their reasons are. Yeah, here we go. So, okay, so this has been, like, so since June 1st, right? And we can see like the 11th things have really picked up, right? But prior to that, it was every 2, 3, 4 days I would get 100 subscribers, which still super thankful for. But since June 11th, let me come over to here. Sorry, I'm always concerned that YouTube is going to freak out if I show certain things. Let me zoom out here just a little bit. Yeah, so like, just as an example, and one of the reasons that I think it's also kind of important to do the what I'm hosting thing now is if we look, like, since Pangolin, right? Since I did the Pangolin video on May 29th, and I guess we're just going to look at this, right? 137 subscribers from that video. Just from that video since May 29th. If we come, let's see, next we've got Pangolin, we've got Dumb Assets. And on here, 71 subscribers from Dumb Assets. From Papra, about 400 new subscribers just from Papra. And then Postiz, which was the one from Wednesday, 56 subscribers from that. So, several hundred new people have joined the channel in some capacity over just the last few videos, and it might be just kind of a cool thing for them to see what I actually do or what I actually use. So let's see. Yep, let's see. You actually speak pretty clearly. English is my 5th language, and I pretty much understand 99.9% of what you say. See, like, I speak one language, and that's when I talk to people who speak 2 languages is impressive. 3 or more, man, I'll never keep up. So yeah, Sven says, is there more subscribers now than before and an increase? Yeah. I've been really, really fortunate in that, in my subscribers, when we look at like my audience, which I know you can't see. If we look at this and then look at, we're going to give this a second and then I'll switch over. There we go. In the last 365 days on, oops, no, come on. There we go. Oops. In the last 365 days, I've had one day where I lost subscribers. And that was January 7th of this year. It was between, oops. Oh, that was, wait, what? January 8th. I think that was a purge day. I think that was a day that YouTube was doing purges of like old unused accounts. I've had a couple of days that were like 5 or 7, but across the board for the last year, I've only had one day where I lost subscribers. Everything else has always been a net surplus of subscribers each day. And even that kind of blows my mind because I know I've made content that people don't like. I'm aware of that. I've taken some risks with some content. I'm aware of that. I have sold out a couple of times for different reasons. And I'm aware of that. I'm not proud of it, but I did. But this year, I came into this year with kind of a promise to myself that I wouldn't make content that I didn't believe in the product, if I didn't believe in the service, that sort of thing, right? I had a service reach out to me recently. They were going to pay me a decent amount of money, something that would have been super helpful. But like the more I dealt with it, the more I messed with the app, the more I messed around with the deployment process and the whole app. The app was fine, but it didn't excite me. I didn't care, right? I just didn't care about the app, and it's because I'm not in the business of that app, right? Like I know that there are people who are in the business of that app, and that app would be great for them. But if I'm not interested in the app or the piece of hardware or the whatever, you guys are going to be able to tell in my presentation, right? I am not a good actor. I'm not a good liar. I am not going to try to push something that I don't actually like. So I've been trying to not just jump on something for the sake of the money, or just because like, hey, I really want that piece of hardware. Because it puts a lot of extra stress on me that comes through in my videos, and you guys can tell. And I know that because I've had comments about it. So Sven says, sorry, going back to this, Sven says, I wonder if there's more subscribers increase now compared to before you started to speak slower. Yeah, absolutely. It absolutely has impacted. It has absolutely impacted that sort of thing. In fact, I meant to come over to here. I clicked the wrong thing. I want to look at some analytics on on a few of these. We're going to go back to as far as Pangolin for here. I know you guys can't see my screen. Give me a minute. Somewhere in here it will tell me. Okay, so for post is average watch time is right here at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, which again, for a 40-minute video, about 12%. If we take a look at audience, engagement, about 4 minutes, which is about 13%. Engagement, I keep doing that, 3.5 minutes, which is 17%. And then engagement, 6.5 minutes on Pangolin, which is 14%. Like if we go back and we look at, let's go back a little farther, because I've been working passively at it for a while. Like Safeline, let's look at Safeline, right? Engagement, that one was 5 minutes. That one was kind of a long video. Damn it. I don't know if people are staying longer, but I feel like, yeah, let's look at this one because it's got a decent number of views. Data Center Manager, let's look at that one because it's got a decent, and Excalibur, right? So 45 views on Safeline. or sorry, not views, subscribers on SafeLine. Proxmox Data Center Manager 120, 146. So it's kind of a wash, I guess. But let's look at this one as kind of one last hurrah here. 44 subscribers on Blinko. So it's so I think that my videos are becoming more accessible to more people because I'm talking slower and my presenting style is a little different. And if you've seen my last, I think 4 videos now, there are disclaimers in them. Like, this application uses Docker. I'm not the developer. Things like that I've been including in all of my videos because I very often I was getting comments frequently about like, well, I wish I would have known early on that this was a Docker container. Docker sucks. You're a bad person because you use Docker, or whatever their comment happened to be for that, right? And that was getting annoying because it's like, dude, my whole channel is about Docker, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. And I was like, okay, wait. They probably just found this video based on searching for that app name, and they probably didn't go visit my homepage first on the YouTube channel, right? So that's on me for not disclosing that. And I think a lot of people, so that was how I solved that problem. And I've actually had people thank me for including that disclaimer. But I've also had people be like, like they'll post their container logs. Like, I'm having this issue, and I'm like, bro, like, I'm not the developer. Like, I did the tutorial demonstration thing. Like, if you're having issues like that, you should go talk to the developer. So I've added that disclaimer. The other disclaimer that I've added to a few of my videos is, yes, there are other ways to do this. This is just one way to do this. If you have a way that you're doing this that works, keep doing that. Like, I'm not trying to convince you to change what you're doing. I'm not trying to convince you to give up the years or whatever of work that you've put in to your setup, right? I'm not trying to convince you to change your setup to do this thing. And I think that also, like, putting in all of those disclaimers, I think has also been a huge help because it sets the expectation at the beginning of the video. And if people can get through that part, they will watch longer because there are no surprises at the end, I think. And it's just something I started doing recently at the same time that I started adding the developers to the videos as much as I can, just because, like, I want people to fully understand what's going on here. So there was Thomas said, I'm not a shill. I appreciate that. I've absolutely shilled. Like, I've got a purple mattress in there and a couple of purple pillows because I shilled. But I was in a mood where I just didn't care. He also followed up to say, the bad thing is you start staring at those numbers long enough, it'll drive you insane. Dude, it was killing me for a while mentally because I would just keep hitting refresh 30 or 40 times a day on my analytics. It was driving me insane. And now my goal is I'll come in, like, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll grab my coffee, I'll sit down, I'll look at the numbers, I'll read through and answer comments, the ones that I feel warrant a response. And then I will go find something else to do. Like on Wednesdays when I release a video, usually on Wednesday, I will release it. Like, I'll have it all scheduled a day or two in advance. It's scheduled for 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, UTC -6 currently. And I'm usually up at like 5:30, kind of somewhere in that range. And then I'll get a notification like, hey, you had some social media posts go out. And I'm like, oh yeah, video went live. And there's been a shift in my brain where I'm not obsessing over the numbers as much. I'm focusing more on the content, the quality of the content, and not just refreshing those numbers because they were absolutely driving me insane. The most important thing is that you're happy and that you deliver something you're proud of. And that's really been the goal over the last month or so. I know I brought this up a while back, but for the last little over a month now, I've been seeing a therapist person who's been helping me with some stuff. Part of that has been chemically. And we've found a good concoction of stuff that that's been helping. It really has. So I'm super happy about that. Mental says some people are stupid. Sven says mental more than you think. Um, here's the thing. My experience is yes, absolutely, some people are stupid. Um, the the thing that I would put in kind of a juxtaposition to that is that I think a lot of people are ignorant, and ignorance is different than stupidity. Stupidity is knowing the information is out there and deliberately ignoring it. It is reading a document and saying no, that's wrong, even though it's been peer reviewed. Ignorance is just not knowing. And when you've got people coming into something that they don't know anything about, they are ignorant until they are proven stupid. Um, and that was a huge hurdle for me in like 2019, 2020, 2021, where I just assumed everybody was stupid. And I very much treated them that way in my comment section, and I hate myself for that. I'm working through that. I've apologized countless times, but I always like to assume ignorance before stupidity. If they've proven ignorance isn't the case, then absolutely stupidity may be the cause. But I always like to attribute things to ignorance before I attribute them to stupidity. Um, I've wow, Thomas says I've been watching you since 2019, and I can say that you don't have a soapbox moment at all. I've made some bad calls. I've made some bad moves. I've been an awful person, and I've apologized, like I said a minute ago, countless times. But I can't fix the damage that I did then, and all I can do is try to be better now, and that's what I'm constantly trying to do is be better. So, and I think that's all we can all. I think that's all we can really hope for ourselves and others, is that we take accountability for what we've done, and we then try to do better moving forward. And that's a hard thing to come to terms with. Like, I was a bad person. Maybe not in all areas of my life, but there were definitely areas of my life I was a bad person. So I'm actively trying to not be a bad person in more areas of my life than, yesterday or a week ago or a month ago or a year ago. Mental says I can't handle so-called normal people. Work in IT, machines are greater than humans. I keep my human interactions to the bare minimum for my own sanity. I get that. And look, here's the thing. Like, I got into tech pretty early on, really. Like when I turned 18, I worked at Hewlett Packard doing printer testing. That was kind of my first foray into tech. Um, and I've done all kinds of tech related jobs, whether it's web development, usually front end stuff, helping people with computers, that sort of thing. And I always chose those things because they involved not talking to a lot of people. Because I very much agree. Like, I do better if I don't have to deal with the general public on a day-to-day basis, because I've done a lot of customer service too. And knowing who I am now, I don't have the patience for where society has gone in the last 6 years, 8 years even. Things changed drastically in 2019, and it's not even necessarily a political thing. I mean, it's subsequently a political thing, but because we were locked up for so long, because we were so used to things just being delivered to us, we couldn't leave our home. Everything was the way we wanted it to be because it had to be, because we were at home constantly, and things always went our way for the most part because we were in control. And then when we were able to go back out in the public, we still had this air of arrogance around all of us, of like, oh, well, why isn't this going as smoothly as it used to? Things changed, right? But here we are, 6 years since COVID, and people still have this mentality of, well, we should go back to the way it was in 2015. That was 10 years ago, dude. Like, the world has changed, and it will probably never be 2015 again, as far as how the world works. And to stay stuck in that mindset is dangerous, and it's arrogant, it's selfish, it's a little solipsistic if we're going to just keep throwing adjectives at it. Um, but I've tried to reframe my expectations of those around me, and really the nihilistic approach to it is to not have any expectations of anyone. So if they're kind of an awful person, cool, you kind of expected that. But if they're a good person, it's even a better adrenaline rush. It's a better dopamine hit to be like, oh, this person was nice. They weren't a douche for no reason. And I know it's nihilistic to approach it that way. But for a long time, I had to approach it that way to save my own mental health. But again, now I'm talking to somebody, I'm working through things effectively, that sort of thing. And I don't necessarily have the contempt for society that I used to. And I'd like to think that my brain is better able to cope with, definitely with the ignorance, and more so with the stupidity, because I can just be like, okay, I understand where you are, and either I can help you or I can't. And then I can decide from there how I'm going to approach the situation. If it's somebody who's just going to fight me across the board, cool. Nice to know you. I hope you have a great day. But I'm not going to waste my time, beating my head on a wall, basically. So it's been a process. And I think, and look, all of this is to go back to my content changing, if we're being honest, right? Because I'm on the new meds, because I'm seeing a therapist about all of this, I'm able to slow my brain down a little bit, and I'm able to approach things with less angst and anxiety. I'm able to approach things with a clearer head, and a more patient brain. The last few videos that I've recorded over a series of a couple of days, 2 or 3 days sometimes. Whereas the videos that you saw up until recently were all recorded in the course of about an hour to 2 hours most of the time. There are exceptions to that, but the general consensus was like 2 to 3 hours tops to record a video, start to finish. From the time I hit record until I was about ready to edit was like 3 hours. And I think that showed. In the videos that I was producing. Again, I've still got a long way to go, right? I've still got a long way to go before my videos are completely accessible to more people. But I think this is kind of that progression, right? Like most people, no, I don't want to make that analogy. It's just better to, I think, kind of take things as slow progressive steps, especially when I've already got an established audience of you amazing people. If I were to just completely switch my entire presentation style overnight, you guys might rebel in some way. There would be comments, there would be people who would unsubscribe. There would be a lot of that sort of thing. And I want to try something for a while and see how it goes. The last 4 or 5 videos have gone really well. And I think that has been demonstrated through the analytics. I'm hoping one of these days, the CPMs and the RPMs, that's the money advertisers pay, the money that I get paid per 1,000 views. I'd like to see those numbers go back up eventually, but I don't know that will be the case. So, I may take on more sponsorship deals and that sort of thing, but I still have to approach it in a way that makes sense. I'm not taking on deals or collaborations for things that don't make sense. Like I said, I've had a lot of people reach out to me about like, hey, do you want to review this or that or the other thing? Like one of them was a service called Revenued. And I'm sure it's a great product. Right. I'm not trying to call them out for anything. I'm sure that they are a great product. But it is a financial product. And it's getting funding for your business and that sort of thing. And at least one of the creators that I like to watch on a regular basis has taken on sponsorships by them. I don't talk about finance. I don't, because I'm not a financial expert. And like, I understand I have taken on other sponsorships that I'm not an expert in, but I don't want to promote a financial thing right now. The financial market is so volatile between, and not, again, not trying to get political, but with like tariffs, with crypto, with interest rates being as high as they've ever been. I know that's not entirely true, but um, with loan rates being high, with those sorts of things, I don't want to promote that to somebody and get them in a position that they can't handle. And I say that as somebody who's put myself in positions in the past where I've taken on a loan payment or a credit card payment or something that I couldn't handle, and it screwed my credit for a really long time. But they were very nice. They reached out to me, and I'm like, look, I appreciate it, but I'm not taking on any kind of financial promotions. But I'm trying to find the right people to work with. I'm trying to find the right, sponsorships, the right ad spots, those sorts of things. And I've got some stuff like in my email here that I hope works out. Not all of it will, but some of it will, and I'm excited about that. Mental says sponsors are good for you. Oh, sorry, Sheldon. Let me go back up. I've learned to save my energy, don't waste it on others. That's a hard one to learn, right? That's something that my wife and I talked about a while back, that I was helping her with, because she was one of those people. And it's not to talk crap about her. She's a very empathetic person. And if you were to come to her and say, hey, I'm having a really hard time with X, Y, or Z, she's like, cool, I'm going to fix that for you. And that was often to her own detriment in different ways, whether it was mental or emotional or financial or whatever. And she was talking to me about it, how it was so tough for her sometimes to deal with the emotional and mental grind of doing that for so many people around her all of the time. And I was like, you don't always have to actively engage in those conversations. Like, you can listen to them and hear them out, but you don't have to be the one to try to fix it. Like, a lot of these people are just, they need somebody to listen. They don't need somebody to fix it. They may ask you for advice, but if it's the same people over and over and over saying, oh, my life sucks because, and you're like, hey, here's a way you could stop that. And then a couple of weeks later, like, hey, my life sucks because, and she's like, well, did you do the thing? Well, no, but I did this other thing that somebody else said. Cool, we're done. Right? Like, if you're not even willing to hear out what I had to say, and you took advice that was the exact opposite of what I said, you're not going to listen to me this time either. And she's been able to kind of distance herself in those situations where she's just like, I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope things get better for you. And that it's very similar to that, like wasting all of that time and emotion and effort and energy on these people that keep doing the same thing over and over and over and just want to complain about it. It's exhausting. Not Sheldon says, do what you need to do. I really like the last few videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mental says, sponsors are good for you. If they pay you, go for it. Borg Swarm says, man, went work from home in 2020 and stayed that way, 60 hours a week in isolation for the last 5 years. Mental health has taken a hit, 100%. That's why I like doing these live streams. It's 100% why I like doing these live streams, because my wife and I have been going out more and being more social out in the world. But this is where I get the most social interaction. This is where I talk to the most people. This is where I get the most input from the people who are like-minded. I don't want this to be an echo chamber, but I get tips and tricks from you guys all of the time, and we're able to have an exchange back and forth where everybody benefits, at least to some degree. And that is super important to me, and that is why I like doing these weekly live streams as long as I can. So Mental says, as long as you don't promote gambling, you're fine. Sven says, I have to go. Thanks for the video. My time is 8+. Oh, yeah, it's like 8:40 there. Dude, go get some dinner. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. The reality is, I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. We've been at this considerably longer than I thought we would. About 2 hours and 41 minutes. And it is getting warm with that door closed and the ice has melted. So I do think I'm going to start wrapping this up. I really do want to thank you guys for hanging out with me, whether it's been for 5 minutes or the whole time, whatever. You guys hanging out with me really does mean a lot to me. I agree. I agree. People need to speak less and listen more. 100%. More people need to learn that lesson. I agree. As from the mouth of somebody who's been talking for the last 2.5 hours, but that's why you guys are here, is to, for some reason, listen to me. But I appreciate you all. I really, really do. If you guys weren't here, if you guys weren't watching the content, if you guys weren't interacting with me, talking to me, I wouldn't be able to do this. And this really means a lot to me. So I really want to thank you guys for your support. So if you haven't already and you want to, you can click the like button, the subscribe button. If you're here, you've probably already hit the subscribe button. But if you haven't, it'd be cool if you did. And again, that like button's just right down there, and it's free also. So again, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me today and hanging out and chatting with me, listening to me rant about everything. But I think I'm going to go wrap this up. I'm going to go hang out with the wife and the kid. May go see how the pool is today. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And again, video this week is most of what's being hosted on the rack behind me, and we're going to talk about that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Hopefully, again, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you again here really